Good morning, fellow college football fanatics, gambling degenerates, ladies, gentlemen, friends. We're here. Week 9. We made it. We're rolling through. It's going too fast, if I'm being honest, but we got to enjoy it while it lasts. College football on Saturday mornings with you guys has been a blast. Shout out to Jeff Slaughter, the Don of Pub Sports Radio, for putting us up here. Shout out to Pub Sports Radio. Shout out to you guys in the chat. Let's make some more money, man. These Saturdays have been a blast. I'm going to be honest. There's nothing that I enjoy more than waking up, talking about college football, betting on college football, and sweating college football. The sweating is a huge part of it, too. The adrenaline pumping, all of it, man. You guys, Nunya, he said he's been up since 5, trimming and inspecting. That's what I'm talking about with that green thumb. Red Girl, Lex Steele, my guy, Wine Time Sports, be up here in just a minute to bring you guys the heat. Doug Wise, Gorgon, Rod Z getting a new membership. Stacks, my dude Justin. He'll be back up here on screen with us next week on Saturday. Shout out to Justin. He already did drop his stacks. And as always, I'll hit stacks again. We got a Navy over 18.5 team total. And then he's got Eastern Carolina ECU. Shout out to the Earl brothers. He's got Eastern Carolina minus 7.5. I'll hit these again and we'll run the stacks. I just want to give you guys just a minute. You know, get the sleep out of your eyes, brush your stinky breath teeth, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and get in here. Share it with everybody. I want to give it a minute to grow so that way our guy Justin Stacks is broadcasted to everybody that wants to get paid with him. But I'll say this one more time. If you can, share the video. Let's get everybody woken up. Let's get everybody in here. And speaking of getting everybody in here, I'm going to go ahead and get my guys up here because they're ready to rock, ready to bring you guys some best bets, some W's. Armchair MMA, good to see you in the chat, man. Ricky Bobby, NJ Striker. Let's do this damn thing, man. Let's get paid today. Without further ado, you know he's here every week. Both of these two guys are, but he's here every week. He's been giving you access to unfiltered college football information throughout the week. Just breakdown after breakdown, in-depth analysis, and he's doing it for free. The Moose Dive, not the Moose Drive, the Moose Dive. My guy, Moose Money Bets. What up, Moose?
Oh, what's going on, Gabby? You know, I was talking to my agent, and we weren't sure if we wanted to have me opt out for the rest of the year so I can maintain my redshirt eligibility. But we said, nah, we got to make that cash. We got to make that paper. So we're here, and we're here for the rest of the year.
That's good because we set aside some more NIL money for you. We need you here on the tailgate, man. We need you here on the tailgate. The chat needs you here on the tailgate. We need that Moose Dive. I don't know why I kept saying drive. While we're on that, I'm going to say it one time because we got to get rolling and get this thing going. But if you guys don't know the Moose Dive, give this guy right here your email and he'll give you access to his breakdowns, in-depth analysis of every game. It's free. You don't got to sign up. You don't got to you don't got to do anything. Just give him your email. He'll give you access to the document. And there you go. Big O coming up here early saying, wake up and get money. That's what I'm talking about, Big O. Let's get paid today. Jim, good to see you in here. Saturated. Man, we got some big games on deck. Obviously, the biggest game, in my opinion, is going to be LSU traveling to Kyle Field to take on the Aggies. And I can't wait to talk about that game again. But we got some other big ones, too. And we got the perfect guy coming up here. He's hitting right at about 60% in college football in the season. I'm going to be honest. I don't know the exact numbers, but he's winning a shit ton. That's all that matters, right? And he's been doing it here every Saturday morning with us. Also, our guy, Wine Time Sports. What up, Wine Time?
Let's go, boys. Yeah, good to be here with you guys, man. Week 9 here, college football Saturday, man. You know, sometimes I get up on these days. It feels like Christmas, man. I feel like we're going to get right to this money, man. I'm excited. The intro got me pumped up, man. I feel like I'm walking out of the tunnel, going out to a game right now. So I'm ready to go, man. Let's get it.
Yeah, shout out to our guy, Jose Bouquet. He did a good job with that intro, man. I think he made that intro. I'm pretty sure he does the graphics and stuff. That shit gets my head bobbing too. Like you said, I'm ready to rock. I'm ready. That's the anthem. That's the Saturday morning anthem. Gravy Betts showing up in the chat saying rise and grind. Good to see you in here, man. Saturated, big game for Illinois today. We'll probably hit on that one too. I'm sure somebody's got a best bet in it. I didn't bet it yet, but I definitely want to talk about it. And I've been thinking about it. So, you know, we've done what? Formalities, intro, anything in the chat. Anybody in the chat got anything we want to get out of the way before we start rocking? Because you guys know how it goes here on the tailgate. We start best bets and we don't stop. Usually we get around 30 to 40 bets between all the cappers and everybody that comes on. So it's a full train, full head of steam. And we're about to start with our guy Wine Time today. Guns could not make it. Shout out to Guns Picks. He's been here almost every week. Make sure you follow Guns. If you don't follow Guns, go find him on X. He'll be here next week. I appreciate what he's been doing for us. He had something come up today. He couldn't be here. So we're going to kick it off with Wine Time. We're going to start it, right into his best bets. Wine Time, I know I just asked you, but what was the first one that you wanted to talk about?
We're going to get right to, we're going to go to Indiana College Game Day.
Indiana College Game Day. Man, it's crazy to me that College Game Day is there and not at Kyle Field.
Crazy, dude.
Right? Yeah.
It was hard for them to sell tickets the last couple season, man. Now they got a sellout crowd every single game. They got College Game Day. They're undefeated. New culture installed into this team, man. It's a lot of big things happening over there.
People throw that word around like, thank you, Jose, that word around like culture. But I'm learning more and more with like A&M and, getting rid of the Jimbo Fisher culture and turning into the Mike Elko culture. Like the culture of a team means so much, right? The identity of the team. It's so important, especially in college football, especially with these transfer portals. I mean, it made it so much harder to create like an in-house culture now with the transfer portals, and shout out, to Indiana because they've been doing it. But they got a tough one here. And I'm gonna be honest, Indiana I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but Indiana has not really played anybody. Like, I'm going to be the asshole to say it. I'm just going to come out here and say it. Indiana hasn't played anybody this year, okay? They haven't done anything that really impresses me, but shout out to them for winning what they've had in front of them, right? Who was it? It was an NFL coach. Who was it? You said you got to win the games in front of you, right? It's what you got in front of you. So Indiana, Washington, Wine Time, what are you looking at here?
Yeah, man, going right to College Game Day here in Bloomington, Indiana. Big game, man, for the Big Ten here for both of these teams, man. Two coaches, starting their 10 years off, I guess, here. Hopefully both these coaches want to be at these programs for a very long time. Entering year one for both of them. Obviously, we see Indiana here, year one under Cincinnati, man. Rocking and rolling here at 7-0. Cab, you kind of touched on it, man. They haven't had the toughest schedule, but they have been blowing these teams out of the water week in and week out. Saw it firsthand at UCLA. I was at that game. I saw how explosive that offense was and how efficient it was. And like I said, the culture, man, all these kids, when you believe in something and when you believe in your coach, it's sometimes all you need, honestly. Sometimes you don't need all the talent. You just got to go out there and does what he says. You got to execute the game plan. That's exactly what they've done all season long. Shout out to them, man. Going to talk a little bit about Washington here on the other side, man. Jedd Fisch, man, coming in, I touched on this earlier in the week, coming in a little bit later than Cincinnati. Cincinnati came in here, I believe, December 1st or the end of December. Jedd Fisch came in the middle of January. He didn't have the winter portal to work around. He had the spring portal to work around. It's very difficult at that time to get guys coming in, honestly. So that is one thing that I think has a little advantage for Indiana. You can see why they're 7-0. I mean, Washington, this team should be, honestly, could be 6-1, other than that loss to Iowa. What a coulda, shoulda. You can say that all day long. They're still 4-3 at the end of the day. But they're sitting here, man. I like the way they've been playing football, man. I like what they've been doing on defense, man. This defense is, their passing defense is one of the better in the nation, honestly. It's in the top 10, I believe. And what Washington has really been struggling with this season has been in the red zone. They've been inefficient in the red zone. They haven't been able to score, and they haven't even been able to make their short field goals, haven't been able to convert on third or fourth and short, and been turning the ball over in the red zone as well. Definitely clean thing. I think they've been cleaning things up this last week and a half. They had a bye week after that blowout in Iowa. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. I was on Iowa. It was an Iowa spot at home. With that being said, man, I don't think this crowd's going to be as rocking as it was in Iowa. And, it just seemed like an Iowa spot. This seems like a Washington spot, and I didn't even touch on the quarterback situation, man. Rourke going out of here, is a Heisman candidate. A lot of people were saying really doing really well for this team, pretty much doing whatever they asked him to do. Making big time throws down the field, but also being a good game time manager at the same time.
He was doing it last year at Ohio too.
Yeah. And you look at this quarterback coming in, Tavon Jackson. A lot of people feel like this isn't too much of a drop off. I understand why. He looked really good last week against Nebraska in that end of third or beginning the whole fourth quarter. With that being said, the game was already being out of hand a little bit. Could he work this offense? Yeah, he can. I just want to see it for 4 quarters against actually a good defense here in Washington. My question is Washington going to be able to score more than 20, 25? If they can get 30 on the board, I think they win this game 100%. They have to be efficient in the red zone. They have to convert, and they have to make their field goals. No misses. They start turning the ball over. It is what it is, and I'm going to stay away from this Washington football team. But we made money either fading them or backing them this season, any way you put it. So give me Washington. I got them at +7 on Monday night, -110. Gave it on the show with Jose on Wednesday. And I didn't sprinkle the money line until this morning. I wish I would have earlier in the week. I'm only getting a plus 185 right now, but I'm sprinkling that money line. I think Washington's going to get him out right here. I just think Will Rogers, this guy's very experienced quarterback, and this is a game that I feel like they very much need in the Big Ten, and for Jedd Fisch to kind of establish himself and building a culture over there in Washington. So give me Washington plus the 7.
Got the Huskies early, man. Moose, I want to hear what you got to say about this, but real quick, when I go back to you guys in the chat, man, shout out to Chip Pilar, said he loving Ole Miss. Good to see you in here, Markel. Man Bear Pick said he's on saturated Fighting Illini. Hopefully I said that right. He's on Illinois at plus 900. Man Bear Pick, do I write that down as an official for you, or is it a sprinkle? Or are you going all in on that plus 900? Let me know. But saturated, we'll definitely get to it. He said he's taking the 21.5. Good to know. Moose, before I give you this game real quick, I wanted to go back to stacks. I wanted to hit our dude stacks real quick. Let me find it. And shout out to Justin. Like I said, he'll be back here with us next week. I know he's cashed stacks yesterday. It was a team total. I don't remember whose it was, but I know you cast it, stacks. So shout out to you. Where the fuck is it? I'm so bad at finding shit. Oh, there it is. Stacks right here. Stacks number 1, and then I'll put up number 2 also. Shout out to Justin.
Stacks, 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 stacks.
Let's go, Justin. Shout out again to Stacks right there. Let's keep this thing rolling, Moose. What you got here? Any bets on this game or any thoughts that you want to share with us?
Yeah, let me just kind of give a couple of thoughts on this to kind of quantify how amazing Cincinnati has been. Prior to this season, Indiana had been 3-24 straight up and 10-17 ATS in conference. But this year, under Cincinnati, are 5-0 straight up and against the spread. So that's, you want to talk about potentially one of the coaching of the year candidates, or even just the obvious, just give 100%. It to him now, coach of the year candidates. It's going to be Curt Cincinnati. And this is, it's always sad to say it, but it's probably the most realistic thing is that this is probably a stepping stone for Cincinnati on his journey to most likely either the NFL or the SEC team. So appreciate while you can. I'm kind of in the same boat as a CU fan. This game is really interesting when you kind of break it down. You look at what Indiana ranks in just kind of their statistics and how they've graded PFF. They are amazing. They rank first in offensive success rate. They're number 1 in the country in drop back success percentage or drop back success rate. They are 22nd in the country in rushing defensive success rate, 16th in drop back. But Washington is also ranked very well. The major difference here, and Cab already touched on it, the strength of schedule for these two is significantly different. Indiana has played the 109th toughest schedule in the country this year, and Washington has played 46th. And if you're looking at the difference between these two teams, that is the difference right there, the strength of schedule. So when you look at all of those stats that Indiana has compiled, that has to be thrown at every single one of them. I am not convinced that Indiana is the better team here. I think Washington is the better team. But when you look at what Washington continues to struggle with week in and week out, they've had 1 week where they have had fewer than 6 penalties. Washington is the side to me on this. The money and the cash are both coming in on Indiana, yet the line has been coming down. So all of that says that this is a Washington spot. I am not going to get to the window on Washington. The only way I'd be betting Indiana would be Indiana first half, because that has been gold in the Curt Cincinnati era, either at James Madison or here. I'm not going to do either. I'm just going to kind of wish that I'm going to send out my positive vibes to Wine Time. Hope that he's able to cash his Washington, because that's the side I'd be on. But beyond that, I got very very little confidence in anything other than this is probably a Washington spot.
I would think the same. That's where I'd probably be there too. Probably over if I played the total. Not playing the total though. Shout out to the chat again, man. I'm going to keep coming back to you guys. Man Bear Pick said he hasn't pulled the trigger yet. Okay, let me know, because I keep up with you guys also. I write down the bets from the chat when you guys tell me it's either a play of the day or you tell me it's a bet that you want me to take. So with that being said, drop your action in the chat, man. Today was a little tough. If I'm being completely honest, today was not my favorite day of college football. Now, I still have action that I haven't told you guys about. I've got bets that I'm excited to get into, talk about with you, Moose, with you, Wine Time. So there's still action. I still love it. But today, as a whole, this card was a little difficult. So I'd love to see what you guys in the chat have bet. Because I'm not opposed to adding and coming together with you guys and capping it to make the bet like Wine Time and I did with Jimmy yesterday on betting with the bag, man. That Brown prop, dude, came around to it. So we got Washington for Wine Time. We got no move here for Moose. Nothing for me, but I like it. What's the next one you want to go into, Wine Time?
Yeah, let's go to the bounce house. Let's go to Central Florida.
This is a good one. This is going to be fun to talk about too.
Yep.
Got to give me let's.
No, you're good. I'll lead right into it, man. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one, man, for conference play, man. UCF, man, coming off a crushing loss to Iowa State, man. We lost by 3 points. Kind of same thing in this game. You look at the strength of schedules, honestly, for both teams. BYU, no impressive. I mean, impressive win against Kansas State and Arizona. I'm not sure how good Arizona is, to be honest. They're such an inconsistent team this season. I'm not sure how good of a win that is. They barely beat Baylor. Good win against Kansas State, another team that's kind of been inconsistent this year, but Kansas State, for the most part, is a pretty solid squad over there. Watching that game last week against Oklahoma State, man, we called for, we're saying Ollie Gordon, man, it's a game where he goes off, and it's exactly what happened, man. He ran all over this defense. He had some big plays. Not only, he got carries, but he also caught a lot of balls out of the backfield for a lot of yardage as well. And BYU, just a crazy finish to win the game, man. Jake Redsloff, man, 7-0 this season, man. What a start for them. I had no idea BYU was going to be 7-0 at this time of the season. If you asked me, but Central Florida, man, they made that change at quarterback. They got Ja'Cory Brown over there. Athletic dude. I mean, they had an athletic dude before, but KJ, man, he just something about him, man. In the big games, man, against the Power 4 teams, man, he just can't throw the ball more than 4 yards.
Yeah, I was about to say he can't make the pass. He's
got every tool to it. It can't ever come together. I don't know if it ever will. He's definitely going to be playing one more year of college football because he's going to redshirt the rest of the year. That being said, Ja'Cory Brown, he's a runner as well, man. He's 6'4", 225. He's an athletic guy, really good on his feet. He's got an arm as well. I want to see if he actually uses it today. But, playing at the bounce house, man, this is just a tough spot for BYU to travel here. This environment's going to be rocking and rolling. The bigger group put me on the bounce house last season in a game where I forgot which game it was. Someone can remember in the chat where it was a similar spot with this, where they're a favorite. They went from a dog to a favorite against a ranked team, and they absolutely smashed them. This is a game where I feel like BYU is going to come out there and they're going to fumble on the opening play of the game. It's going to go back for a touchdown for UCF. There's going to be special teams touchdowns for UCF. RJ Harvey's going to run all over the field. This is one of the more talented running backs in college football. I'm a big fan of his. His rushing props at 119.5. I think it's still worth a look because I think he could easily get 150 on the ground. This guy's a beast. He's an NFL type back. Give me UCF, man. I got a really good number when I saw this come out. I could have gotten a plus 115. I got a plus 110 though. It's all the way up to a minus 145 on the money line right now at a lot of spots. But I think UCF, if you want to take the spread, take the spread, but I'm on UCF money line.
Yeah. The way I would have introed this just would have been, undefeated number 11 BYU traveling to, a UCF team that's just been struggling. And you've seen what the line did. If I'm not mistaken, it was 2.5. It never got to 3.5, but it was BYU 2.5. And it's flipped. This line has completely flipped. It's turned over.
18% of the tickets, 34% of the cash is on UCF. This is
only 34% of the cash is on UCF, and this line has gone from and
only 18% of the bets. So at 100, I have 100 people going to the window. 18 of them are on UCF, and they're making it more appealing. They're saying, "Yeah, BYU guys, keep coming to the window and keep taking them more. We'll give you a better number."
This is one of those crazy things where it's just like.
It's going to be like 28-3 at halftime UCF. Like it's going to be something crazy like that, and everyone's just going to be so thrown off the public at the sports book today. They're going to be like, "What the hell happened?" But the bounce house, man, this place is going to be rocking today. I know it is.
Man, speaking of rocking, you guys in the chat, we're already up over 130 people. Last week we did the same thing to try and do the giveaway. And shout out to Kongs. For winning the first week. He wanted his giveaway donated. So shout out to him. That's awesome. We're going to do it again this week. Nobody even got the team that won last week. So since nobody even got the team that won, I didn't really look at the scores. All you got to do is get the team that wins, and then whoever's the closest on the score, I'll shoot you 25. But we got to hit 200 people live to do that again. So once we get up over 200 people live, I'll tell you guys which game I want you to guess on afterwards. But shout out to you guys, man. You're bringing it up. Young Native Tino, good to see you. Big O, Doug Wise. Prime VA said UCF minus 2.5 on his card. Good to see you, Ken. Peacock, everybody in here, man. Moose, what are you doing with this one?
I think it's interesting to point out that last year BYU really struggled on the road in conference. They lost every single road conference game last year, and their only road conference game this year was against Baylor, and they covered. But in those losses last year, they lost by an average of 26 points. This is going to be BYU's longest trip of the year. Going all the way from the Mormon territories all the way down to the not Mormon territories in Florida. And
their quarterback's Jewish. Not that it matters, but that shit threw me off the other day when I saw it because he's the only Jewish quarterback in college football. So shout out to him for that.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he doing at BYU?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's got some crazy nickname that Jose said. I forgot what it was. You know what it is, Kev?
No, I didn't. Did you guys cover that same topic also?
He calls himself some nickname that has to do with that. Yeah, I forgot exactly what it is though.
Yeah. Well, so shout out to him. Hey, and also Moose, I wanted you to keep going, but shout out to our dude Gorgon. He said BYU rolls UCF, so he doesn't agree with us. But we appreciate that, Dono. Also, man, those donos and you guys that get the memberships. I say it every week. You're the reason why we're up here. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here because we don't charge for picks at Pub Sports Radio. We just give it to you for free. So showing support is the way to show us that you appreciate it. So thank you guys. If you can, get a membership, drop a dono, whatever you can if we've been making you money. But Moose, keep it rolling.
Yeah, I mean, the other interesting part here is BYU's rush defense, which it is ranked 18th in EPA per rush. But in terms of success rate, it ranks 75th. So that's telling you that they are giving up, quite a few long plays, but they're able to they're able to limit some of the conversions. They're able to kind of limit how successful a team is running, but they are not able to limit some of the longer runs. And that's what you're seeing in the EPA versus the defensive success rate. It is going to be very interesting to see how BYU stacks up against this UCF running game that with Ja'Cory Brown back there, you're talking about now with RJ Harvey and Ja'Cory Brown, two guys that are 4.4, 4.6 40s. And BYU, it does have some guys that can run. But, I mean, this is going to be the type of running game that they saw against Kansas State, which that whole game against Kansas State was a reason why I'm kind of staying off of this. They were able to limit what Avery Johnson was doing in the backfield. I'm not sure that's going to be as likely on the road, especially going all the way out to Florida. But they have done it before. And BYU does have the pedigree to stop the run. I just don't have the confidence they're going to do it here. I don't also have the confidence in UCF as a favorite. That line movement was absolutely shocking.
Wild.
Yeah. I mean, usually you see, like, if you're seeing 18% and seeing it going against a ranked team, it's kind of like, what, like, all right, what are we seeing here? Like, what kind of things are happening behind the scenes that makes you think that this is absolutely the necessary move to flip the line like that? So I would have loved to get on UCF as a dog.
And it's one of those things where I feel like people still would have been betting on BYU at minus 2.5. So, like, it's wild. This line movement is wild.
Yeah.
I'm not betting this game. I'm not.
100%. I mean, if I was able to get in as they've let that line at a dog, I would be on UCF here. But when they switched to a favorite, it's like, I know it's under a field goal, but there's just that part of me that's like, man, BYU's got the veteran presence that they're always going to have, and I just can't.
They're 30 years old. They're grown men on the field.
Yeah, I couldn't get to the window, but I mean,
their quarterback's not.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the most amazing things I'll probably hear today. But I couldn't get there with UCF. I would have loved to have gotten a playable money line, but that money line just kept on dropping as well. So I'm off of this. I missed the line. I'm not going to play the ass end like I have in the past. So I'm going to pass on this, but UCF would be the only side I'd look at.
Man, our guy Pipe Layer coming in and dropping a Pub Sports Radio membership, man. Cheers to you, Pipe Layer. been loving capping with you every day in the chat, man. Every day showing up, good energy, dropping donos, dropping good bets, man. Just good energy. Shout out to you, my man. Shout out to all the members out there. Lou Chase Fox said saturated reminds me of that, or it reminds him of that Devin the Dude song, Doobie Ashtray. What a good song, man. My Doobie Ashtray. Anyways, we keep this thing rolling. UCF for our guy Wine Time. I'm not betting this one. I can't do it. Moose, same thing. You're staying off your official for right now. So it's good news. That means Moose and I have other games where our official bets are that we're going to bring to you. So Wine Time, where are we going to next? Now that I got this,
let's go to Madison, Wisconsin, man.
Hell yeah. Where is this?
I got to get here one day, man. This place is going to be rocking here in Wisconsin, man. Man, this team's kind of turned it around these last 3 games, give or take, against the competition. It's been weak. Their defense has looked extremely strong, though. It looks like kind of the old Wisconsin that we're all known to love, honestly. I mean, I love that defense back in the day, but giving up 6 points to Purdue. I mean, Purdue, not a good offense whatsoever. Rutgers, I mean, we're kind of seeing them fall apart. Northwestern, not probably the bottom feeders of the Big Ten, if we're being completely honest. But still, holding any team in college football to under 10 points in 3 straight weeks in conference play is very impressive to me, especially your team that's kind of flying under the radar right now, being at 5-2. Your 2 losses to USC, a team that you were up 11 points at half. And, USC made some crazy – it's crazy to think that USC could quite potentially have 5 losses. Like, could have lost that game. But with that being said, they had a big second half adjustment, ended up winning that game by a good margin. Alabama, Tyler Van Dyke, we saw him on the opening drive, driving down the field. They're probably going to, it looked like they were going to score a touchdown, and he gets hurt on the opening play. They bring in a true sophomore, didn't have a lot of playing time in his career. I believe that might've been his first game. Maybe he played a couple games as a true freshman. I'm not too sure. I believe he's a sophomore, at least. I'm not 100%, but I think he's a sophomore. He's a young guy. But he does know the system, and he's looked a lot more comfortable in it, being kind of a game-time manager and making the throws downfield when they ask him to, but kind of just getting it to his playmakers and seeing what they can do. That being said, too, man, Tyree Walker, really good running back over there at Wisconsin, man. He's got I think he's got 8 or 9 touchdowns right now. Been running the ball really good right now. No, he doesn't have it. That's a different guy, but he's playing really good ball right now. I like what their running back situation over there. You look at Penn State on the other side. Drew Aller at quarterback, they're coming off a bye week. Big win against USC on the road, man. A game that they very well should and probably should have lost, honestly. They made some crazy second half adjustments. Shout out to their offensive coordinator who came over from Kansas. Did some really good second half adjustments. I was not expecting to see that at all. Penn State still got the cover. With that being said, man, Wisconsin and Penn State's just not really getting it done to me against these opponents. Against UCLA, we saw what they did in the first half. They didn't look that good. Couple explosive plays on a secondary that was kind of down a couple guys in that one. Look at the Illinois game. It was a tie game pretty much the entire game until the fourth quarter. Not a lot of impressive wins if you ask me. And yeah, I get it. They're the number 3 team in the nation because they're undefeated in their Penn State. They're in the Big Ten. I get it. But this is a game, man. These Wisconsin fans are going to be showing out for this one. Wisconsin's going to want to give – Luke Fickell's going to want to give it all he has in this game. They still have a chance to somewhat make a run in this conference. We'll see if they can get a big win here. I think they can beat them outright, honestly. I think they're going to beat them in the trenches. Don't get me wrong. I like Penn State's offensive line and their defensive line, but I just think Wisconsin's going to outwork them in this spot at home, honestly. Braden Locks, I already mentioned, getting a little more comfortable in this offense. And I expect them to run the ball really heavily and just try to keep Penn State offense off the field and limit the explosive plays from Penn State. You limit those explosive plays. I don't know if Penn State could really score 20 points in this matchup, honestly. That's why I kind of we're seeing a low total. 98% of the tickets coming in on the over, total staying where it is. Maybe I should get on the under at this too. Maybe buy up to a 48 at a minus 115, 117, whatever I can get. Might get to the window on the under, but I am on Wisconsin. I got in on Monday at +7. It's at a 6.5 right now. It's most likely going to stay at the 6.5. I like it. I said I like this game all the way down to a 6. So you can get a 6 to a 7. Take Wisconsin; they're going to beat them outright. Upset.
I'm with the chat on this one. I'm with Jim. Shout out to our guy Jim. He said that he hopes Wisconsin beats these frauds. College football needs that. We don't need an undefeated Penn State team ranked number 3 that's not as good of a football team as their ranking indicates. I agree completely. You look like they should have lost to USC. Okay, And they didn't. So shout out to them. But they should have lost that football game. And then you look at the Illinois game, they won 21-7, but that game was very close right up until the end of it. I mean, just very close. So, yeah, I don't hate it here with Wisconsin. Moose, how about you? You got action on this one?
I do. And Wine Time already alluded to the tickets coming in on the over, and the line moved a half a point with like 90% of the tickets early on in the week. And I believe it's up to like 97%. I don't have the specific numbers in front of me. The site I use is deciding to take a little siesta here early in the morning. But if you're seeing line movement only move up a half a point and then go back down with a majority of tickets and cash on the other side, I mean, that under is exactly where I'm looking at. And if you look at Wisconsin, the 2 games against Alabama and USC, they gave up 80 points, 80 points in those 2 games. In all of their other games combined, they have only allowed 43 points. That's ridiculous to me. So what are we going to see? Are we going to see the defense that we saw against Alabama and USC? Is Penn State on that kind of level with their offense? I'm going to say that Penn State is not on that kind of level with their offense. And we are going to see more of the defense we saw against the rest of their regular season schedule. And I feel pretty good about this. I like what Wine Time was talking about with the running game here. Penn State is going to try to run the ball. They rank 14th in rush success percentage, and Wisconsin has not done all that well against the rush. They rank 56th in EPA rush defense, and they rank 81st in rush defense success percentage. But a lot of that is tied to the 2 games that they got absolutely blown up in. I do not think that happens here. I think that at home, Wisconsin's going to have a much better rush defense, and Penn State is going to have to fight for the yardage. I do think the game is lined a little incorrectly. I think this should probably be closer to a 3.5 or a 1.5 even, especially since Wisconsin's at home here. And Penn State, I like Penn State, but I don't think I like them enough to go on the road here at Wisconsin and win by margin. I'm not going to take whiskey as a side, but I am going to take the under, and I think that that's probably my favorite look here in this game.
Beautiful. So I got to say this too. So Wine Time, how much longer do we got you? Can you I
got another 10, 15. We can talk about this A&M game if you guys want.
Hell yeah. You know what? Let's do it. I'll intro it. Let me go ahead and just bring our next guest on, and he can be up here while we talk about this game too, because it's not one of the ones he sent, but I'd love to hear his thoughts also. But before I bring this guy on, you guys know who it is. I want to see if I got the clip in here, though. I hope I do. I sure hope I do. But he's been coming on, killing it week in and week out, every week bringing you guys winners. Last week, he loaded up on Army with him. It was first quarter, first half full game. Army did the damn thing. Shout out to Army. They've stayed a wagon, been a wagon. But he's been bringing you guys winners, and it's not going to change. Let me move this. Sorry, guys. I'm not the best when it comes to the graphics, but I'm getting – see, I just pressed the wrong button. I'm getting there. I pressed the wrong button. I'm trying to move this shit out of the way for our guy who's coming on because his intro is dope, and he's been killing it. So let's get him up here. Shout out Kong's Clips, baby.
Oh, that's dope.
Isn't it?
Right?
Yes,
Bro, we made it for the
sir.
session.
That's dope.
We got to use it here, too. What up, Kong, man? How's it going?
What up, bro? Hey, I'm tired, bro. I was up late watching Boise State get in that ass.
Bro, I should have bet that game. I was kicking myself all over the place. Just mad that I didn't bet Boise State first half. But anybody who tuned into the Betting with the Bag with Jimmy the Bag, me, and Wine Time, maybe you bet it because you heard that's where we were leaning. So hopefully we help some people. I know we usually jump right into the best bets, Kongs, but before our guy Wine Time's got to go, I want to touch on this one more time. We got the number 8 LSU Tigers traveling to College Station, Texas, Kyle Field, to take on the number 14 Texas A&M Aggies. And this game, again, it's crazy to me that this isn't College Game Day because this is for the number 1 spot in the SEC. Who thought that week 9 we would be saying that LSU and Texas A&M are playing for the number 1 spot in the SEC? Not Georgia, not Bama, not Texas, LSU and Texas A&M. And both these teams, man, lost their first game of the year. LSU lost to USC. Tough loss. A&M lost to Notre Dame. Tough game. But since then, 6-0. Both of them gone since 6-0. Run the sheet. And I'll say this right here. I'm on A&M, okay? And I bet it earlier in the week. There was news that came out. Texas A&M's offensive lineman, Chase Bosonis, if I said that correctly. He's a sophomore left tackle, and he started last year as a freshman. He's definitely going to be an NFL guy. He's a huge part of that offensive line, and a huge part of A&M's game is running the football with Le'Veon Moss, right? So I think that this line, I know it's not often we hear about a line moving because of a lineman, but I actually think that it's not necessarily bets or anything that's changed it. I think the line genuinely has moved because he's out. And I don't like it. I don't know what to say. I don't like it. Okay. I don't love it. And for those of you that are on LSU, you should feel a little bit better about your spot. I'm not buying off A&M. I'm going to stay on it. I'm going to stick with my bet here, but they're going to have to run the football. And a couple more points in this game because, look, I could talk for 30 minutes about this game, and I know that's not how this show goes. But it's going to be about how comfortable Nussmeier can get in that pocket. This LSU offensive line has NFL-caliber players across the front. The good news for anybody on A&M like myself, so does A&M. The matchup is going to be A&M's D-line versus LSU's offensive line. It's going to be physical. It's going to be rough. It is going to be a lot of fun to watch this football game, and I can't wait to do it. I'm on A&M. Don't like the line movement. Don't like the offensive lineman being out. Wine time. One more before you got to bounce, man. What about this one?
Yeah, man. Talk about two teams that like to play completely different kind of football, man. What does LSU like to do? They like to throw the football. One of the tops in the nation. LSU throws the football at a 60% rate. A&M runs the football at a 62% rate. Both running backs pretty good. You look at the LSU side. You look at Caden Durham. He's been pretty solid for him this season. Just don't know why. Why don't they get him involved more often early in the game? Get him involved. Get the ball in his hand. See what you can do in the run game. You already touched on it, Cab. NFL caliber players along this offensive line for LSU and defensive line for Texas A&M. It's gonna be best on best here, man. Trenches, man. When it comes down to third and fourth quarter, who's tired, who's ready to keep going and fighting for their team. I believe it's going to be A&M in the long run because they're playing at Kyle Field in this environment, man. They really need this win, man. I think get Le'Veon Moss involved early and often, get him involved in the backfield, get the ball in his hands, throw him a couple passes, burn the clock, keep LSU offense off the field. What does LSU like to do? Hit the explosive plays. Texas A&M, they don't really hit a lot of explosive plays, and LSU kind of, they can give up the explosive plays, and maybe we're going to see Le'Veon Moss take off on a big run here. You also got quarterback Connor Wigman. He's a 5-star guy, man. Should have every tool in the shed, man. He's got an arm. We do know he has an arm and he can use it when he wants, but sometimes he makes the mistakes a lot of the time, and he gets himself into trouble with the arm. If he can stay out of trouble with the arm, not force any turnovers, not give the ball up, run the ball, stop LSU, put them in third and long. And I believe this Texas A&M defense is going to be able to get to Nussmeier at least a couple times. And if they're not able to, then shout out to the offensive line at LSU. All those guys are going to the NFL draft. But it's going to be interesting to see who's going to win in the trenches. And I think A&M is going to win in the trenches. And I think they're going to want to run the ball, burn the clock, and just keep this LSU offense off the field. Give me A&M. You can get a better number, man. I got in at the minus 135 early in the week and get like a minus 115 right now. It is weird when you look at the money line market in this spot, 82% of tickets, only 23% of cash on the A&M side. And then you look at the spread side, and you got LSU, 84% of tickets, 69% of money. So it's like people are either like, it's just money's coming in both ends, and this line's really close. I really do think this is going to come down to a money line. Whoever wins this game, it's going to be by one most likely. I think A&M's going to pull this out, man, if Wiggins can play some turnover-free football. So give me A&M on the money line.
He's got to do just that. He's got to play turnover-free football. I was out on Wigman. I was more of a fan of Reed. I mean, Reed came in, didn't lose a game, but Wigman throws a better ball. He's a better pocket quarterback, obviously. So that'll be an interesting matchup. Moose, how about you? You got anything on this one?
I'm really, really close to getting in on the under here. I'm not not quite there. Interesting that the underdog in this game for the last 4 games is 3-0-1, but the series has been split in the last 6 matchups with the home team winning in the last 7 games. And it makes sense when you look at the two college football environments that are out there at Kyle Field and over at Death Valley. I mean, it does make sense that the home team is 7-0. The over has hit in the last 3 games with an average of 62 points per game. Brian Kelly has been an away dog twice at LSU, 1-1 ATS, but in his career is 20-12-1. So Kelly in the SEC has gone 15-5 straight up, but is 10-9-1 ATS. All those trends are kind of just really tough to kind of break down or kind of find the angle that you want, because they could both go both ways. You could talk LSU as the dog, or you can talk about the home team here. I think this is going to come down to which team is able to find their niche on offense here. Is A&M going to be able to find the running game? And you look at LSU and their rush defense has been very good this year. I mean, besides the game against USC and South Carolina, they've graded above average in all of their games on PFF. And if you look at A&M, they have done outstanding against the pass. And is Nussmeier going to be able to pick apart an A&M defense that has been tested versus some good passing games? I am not convinced that LSU is going to be doing that. The one defense that you can look at that LSU has played is Ole Miss. They're like, okay, they have a pretty solid defense, and they didn't cross the 30-point threshold. You can look at the USC game early on. They didn't cross the 30-point threshold. Every other game they have against Nichols, South Carolina, UCLA, South Alabama, Arkansas, I mean, those aren't exactly the best defenses in the world. A&M is going to be light years ahead of what their average defense has been. So how successful can the passing game be against an A&M defense that is as advertised? And other factor, Caden Durham, he has kind of gotten established as their main running back. He got 21 carries last week after being in a rotation. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a long leash there. They do have multiple guys, even though Emory Jones going down was kind of a huge blow to them. I just don't really trust the side here. I could be convinced on A&M. I really could be if I heard something important, but the fact that the left tackle's out, that's not.
Yeah, great. He's a big one too for him. Kong, I want to know what you think. So I'll say this though, because there's been a lot of talk about quarterback play for LSU and what A&M's defense is going to do. I'll tell you what they're going to do, because it's the same thing that Elko always does. He's going to try and get downhill and get after the quarterback, okay? Because LSU does not really run the football, like Winetime touched on. So he's going to try and get to the quarterback. He's going to leave the middle of the field open. LSU is going to hit some chunk plays in the middle of the field. It's the chance that Elko takes trying to get home on the quarterback. And I think this game's determined on whether or not if they put Nussmeier on his ass a few times, I think that's the difference in this game. If they don't, I think LSU takes it. Kongs, did you have anything on this before we get to your best bets, my dude?
That was exactly my take, Cab. If A&M gets to the quarterback, gets him some long early downs, some long second downs, long third downs, I think A&M can pull it out. Seeing what happened with LSU and Ole Miss, I was off this game until Wednesday. And I heard everybody come on and give out Texas A&M. So I tossed Texas A&M in a parlay, but not super confident in it.
Yeah, no worries. And I mean, like somebody in the chat said, there's probably better games to bet here, right? We've already hit plenty of action for people saying that, Wine Time's already given out 4 best bets now that we did A&M also. Moose has already given out a couple, and Kongs is about to unload a clip for you guys right here. Look, we're up over 150 people right now. Get to the 200 mark, and I'll do the giveaway again this week. Shout out to you guys in the chat. I appreciate all of the support. We love you guys. We love doing this with you, and I hear you. We'll move on. We'll move on to the next game. What's the first one you want to take us to, Kongs? And before
apologies, I gotta head out, fellas. I wish I could stick around. I always miss Kong's action, man. I hate that I miss these breakdowns, man. I gotta get to the Boston sauce though. It starts in 15 minutes, fellas. Good luck to you guys. Always a blast doing this, man. This is my favorite thing to do with you guys, man. Talk college football with my friends, man. Shout out to everyone in the chat, man. Everyone that showed out early and often. Go check us out over at Boston Sauce when you're done with this, guys. Hit the like button, guys. We're going to get paid today, man. I feel like today's going to be a great day. Good luck, Cab. Good luck, Moose. Good luck, Kongs. Good luck, everyone in the chat. Let's get this cash, guys.
Hell yeah. Much love, Wine Time. Appreciate you, man. Love doing this with Wine Time. I'll hit his bets one more time. He had Washington +7. He had UCF. And I'm just going to say ATS because I think he got in at the +2.5, but he still supports the -2.5. And then he had Wisconsin +6.5 and A&M -2.5. Shout out to our dude Touchdown Troy in the chat, man. Good to see you out there, Troy. Look like you and Wine Time aligned on a lot. That's where I'd want to be, is on the side with you guys. But I wanted to say this, Kongs, before we get going. Our cappers might have different looks, okay? We don't get kumbaya. We don't talk about it before we come up here. So there's a very good chance that somebody else might be on the other side, and they'll give you your reason why. Starting with Kongs right here, right? Kongs, what's the first one you want me to take us to?
We're going to Bloomington.
Hell yeah. I just had this one up. If you want to start it, I'll find it again. I just had it.
Yes, sir. So
Where is it?
I'm on the other side. Washington travels multiple time zones. We know the angle to play the Red Hot Hoosiers of Indiana. Taven Jackson will be under center this week with Curtis Rourke out due to injury. Jackson, on a limited sample, has 66.7 completion percentage with a 3-0 touchdown to interception ratio. Jackson comes in with 12.5 yards per attempt. That's 2 more yards than Curtis Rourke. Indiana ranks number 1 in points per game with 48.7 points per game, and number 7 in points against, only allowing 13.7 points per game this season. I believe this offense could take a step back with the quarterback change, but I believe this defense makes the difference today. This team is averaging 250.1 more yards per game than their opponents this season. I'm on Indiana -6.5. I think this number come down from what it should be because of the quarterback situation. I think Indiana has the better defense, the better special teams, and I think they get it done on offense. I'm on Indiana.
Man, I tell you what, you've been with Indiana too. Anybody who's tuned in, I write and keep track of everybody's bets that comes on the show. You've been cashing on Indiana, so it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. And
yeah,
I didn't bet this game, but I get
and
it.
I'm not an Indiana fan. I live in Indiana. I've never been an Indiana fan. I'm a Louisville Cardinal fan. It's sacrilegious to be an Indiana fan and or a Kentucky or Louisville fan down here. But this team has got it. This coach has come in and turned shit upside down. He's uber confident in his interviews. He has got this team where he wants this team. And if you don't think this team is not going to be fired up with game day in the building, if you took a look at game day this morning, this crowd is insane. They lined up at 4 p.m. yesterday.
Wow.
To get into game day.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's going to be crazy out there. I think the crowd's going to get to Washington. And I think Indiana does what they've done all season and puts up big numbers.
Dude, this is going to be electric. You're right about that. This is going to be electric, man. Keep coming back to you guys in the chat as always, because I want to see you guys' bets. Ron Lofton showing up. Good to see you in here, Ron Lofton, my dude. Kevin Foster said Notre Dame will roll. We will touch on that one because I have a bet in that one, Kevin. So we'll make sure and get to that one before kickoff so we can cover that. But Wine Time on Indiana. So he's on the other side. Moose, you've kind of already given your thoughts on this one. So I'll let Wine Time keep rolling. What's the next one, Wine Time? Wine Time, Colin. What's the next one, bud? My bad, dude.
We are going to shout out Saturated. He said he's rocking with me as long as I'm on his Fighting Illini. His Fighting Illini is being faded the rest of this season. You can't give up that many points to Purdue and be on my ticket ever. Illinois travels to number 1 Oregon, another big travel spot. But even if this was in Illinois, I would be on Oregon. I will only fade a team that allows Purdue to score 50 points. If Purdue was able to keep up with Illinois, what do you think this dynamic, explosive offense of Oregon is going to do? How does Illinois score on this defense? I need 2 touchdowns to cover. I don't think Illinois puts up points till garbage time. Oregon is going to put up at least 21 points in the first half. Give me Oregon first half minus 13.5.
First half minus 13.5.
Minus 105.
Gotcha. Minus 105. Our guy Saturated said, I'll knife fight you, Kong. That's funny, man. Shout out to you guys in the chat. WT, good to see you. Everybody. So Oregon, man, taking the Ducks, the number one team in the nation.
They've been good in the first half all season.
Yeah, coming out early.
Yeah.
I get that one here. So we got Indiana for you, and then you got Oregon first half. What's the next one?
We're moving to Florida State, Miami.
Oh, there we go. We haven't touched on this one yet. Good deal. Florida State, Miami. I should have the graphic for it. I don't know why it takes me so long to find these sometimes. I put a bunch of them in here. It's like
probably because there's 200 games every Saturday.
Right.
I'm going to keep looking for it, but we're talking Florida State, Miami here, guys. While I keep looking for this graphic, I'm going to let Gong go ahead and take it because I might not have this one.
All right. Miami gets the in-state rival Florida State, but unfortunately, this won't be the big matchup we were anticipating in August. Miami puts up big numbers. They have not scored less than 38 points in any game this season. Florida State comes in ranked number 132 in total offense and number 132 in scoring, averaging 15 points per game. Long story short, I'm on Miami to make a statement. This is their last big game to make a statement in this season. I think they come out and show a changing of the guard, if you will. The Canes are back. Miami minus 20.5. Minus 115.
20.5 is what you got on it.
Hasn't moved. I haven't looked at lines. I just got up.
No, you're all good. And I don't have it in here. I'm looking through the graphics that I asked for, and look, I got this one. Tell me how the fuck I got this one, but I don't have Florida State versus Miami. You know what it is, though. You know what it is.
Yeah. Shout out Jose.
Miami minus 20. That's not on Jose. It's probably on me. Miami minus 20.5. Indiana minus 6.5. Oregon first half minus 13.5. I think you sent me a fourth one, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Oklahoma at Ole Miss.
Oklahoma at Ole Miss. Well, I tell you what, Oklahoma is not ready for this step up in competition in the SEC that they've taken here. Oklahoma is not a good looking football team. I mean, their offense is just non-existent. And, this is a situation where Ole Miss, after coming off the bye and coming off a loss, I like Ole Miss here. I'm not somebody you usually see laying like the bigger spreads. That's not usually my bread and butter, but this is a situation where I personally think laying it with Ole Miss is probably the right way to go. What you think about it?
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I haven't checked injury reports this morning. I heard earlier in the week that Trey Harris might not go today. So I'm targeting this piss poor Oklahoma offense against this Ole Miss defense. I don't think Oklahoma will be able to run the ball, and we know they can't stretch the field throwing the ball. I'm on Oklahoma team total under 14.5. I think Ole Miss covers. But I'm not sure if Trey Harris suits up. So officially, Oklahoma team total under 14.5 plus 102.
Oklahoma under 14.5. Moose, you got anything on this one? And I want to hear what you think about Illinois, Oregon, Moose. I'm all over the place today.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, Ole Miss at home has been pretty awesome on defense. And they've allowed at home 0, 3, 13, 20. But the asterisk: Furman, Middle Tennessee, Georgia Southern, and Kentucky. And the Kentucky game, they did lose. I am not overly confident on Ole Miss, but I mean, anybody that saw that post-game interview with Jackson Dart, the hood up, is like, got to win out. Got to win out. Simple as that. Got to win out.
Did he take his mascara off yet?
He may have. I don't know. It was still on there. It may have been a little runny, with the tears that were coming down. But I mean, this is absolutely the perfect game for Ole Miss to get out there and just, whomper stomp them You don't have a look ahead. You got Arkansas up next, and Georgia is following that. So if you're going to do the look ahead spot, that's next week at Arkansas when they have Georgia on deck. This is absolutely the game. I mean, Kongs is right there. I really like that under 14 and a half. I'm going to actually make a note of that because I didn't even think about that play here. I was just kind of like, oh, Ole Miss should make a statement here. But part of that statement is not letting the other team score if you're going to make a statement here.
Right.
Ole Miss, their rush defense has been phenomenal. You really haven't seen much from Oklahoma. The coverage for Ole Miss has been probably the area that you're going to attack. In Oklahoma, I think they're pulling people out of the stands now to play wide receiver. So I think Oklahoma is absolutely the team total there. Absolutely a great look here. I might have to tail that one, Kongs.
Well, you know what?
That is plus money.
Is Hawkins scrambled out and he overthrew a receiver so bad it went up into the stands and they were like, "Oh, you can actually catch the football. Will you please come play for us?" No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you remember Mike Leach did that with a kicker. When they ran out of kickers, Mike Leach is like, "All right, we had a field goal kicking contest. This one guy made a 35-yarder. You want to play football for us?" And then went perfect the rest of the year.
When I was at Tech, he was there, man. R.I.P. Mike Leach. And, you know, I don't mean this like in a negative way, but he was such a dick.
Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah.
But, came across. But shout out to you guys in the chat, man. We're going to keep it rolling. Our guy Razor Sharp Picks. Shout out Razor, man. I know you got the family vacation coming up. I hope you guys have a great time. Good to see you. AOD, he said this is the best fucking show. AOD, you're the best fucking commenter, man. We love you, man. We appreciate you, all you guys, man. Thank you guys for tuning in and showing out. That was all of the games, Kongs, but we got your parlay left, right?
Yep, and the plus money prop of the week, which is on fire.
Hell yeah. It's the plus money prop of the week cashed again last week. Good shit. So let's go with the plus money prop of the week first and then throw the parlay at me.
Yeah, plus money prop of the week. I think it's 4-1 since I started it. So doing so good on it. We're going to bump it up to 2 plus money props this week. Just see how it does. I got 2 looks that I like. Before we do that, I want to touch on this real quick. I gave out Army last week to make the playoffs. 20-1 is a plus 2,000 bet. I was helping somebody at work find the play to bet on Army to make the playoffs. We get over to make the playoffs prop and Army plus 1,000.
Oh shit, that's a huge jump.
Yes, sir. In 1 week. All right, so plus money prop of the week. Xavier Restrepo. I think he gets off today like he does every week. His receiving prop is sitting at 90 yards. We're going to look at Xavier Restrepo to go over 125 receiving yards today. It's plus 235. I think he gets there. I think he has a big game today. What's that?
Did you say plus 235?
Yes, sir.
Oh, shit. Nice. Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. Xavier Restrepo is looking to break the Miami receiving record. I know he's got a bunch of them already, but I think he has a big game. Plus money prop number 2. We're going back to Shadur Sanders to throw 4+ passing touchdowns, plus 240. He's been throwing touchdowns. If you've been watching the Colorado games, he's throwing the ball around. So I think he continues to throw the ball around today. 4+ passing touchdowns at plus 240. Then we move on to the 2-unit parlay of the week. If you checked out my X, I gave out a 2-unit parlay yesterday. If you wasn't able to get in on that 2-unit parlay, it did have Boise State in it. I've cooked up another one for you guys that wasn't able to get in on it. 2-unit parlay, Indiana minus 6.5. Oregon first half minus 13.5, and Miami minus 20.5. It's a plus 584. Essentially, all I did was replace Boise with the Oregon first half spread. It's one of my favorite bets today. So for people that wasn't on X to get that new 2-unit parlay, that's where we're at. We're gonna get paid today. I know it's coming. I got a big week in me left, at least one. If not, we'll see if I got a couple left in me. This week feels like it. And shout out to you guys. Shout out to the pub. Shout out Daby for throwing this show every week for you guys. Run up the likes. We need likes on this show. We need to get it in more living rooms and on more people's phones.
That's it.
Because we're doing the damn thing over here. If you tune in, you know what we're doing on this show. Shout out Moose. Shout out Slaughter. Without Slaughter, we wouldn't be here. Just keep supporting the pub, man. We love you guys. We come here. We show out for you every week on time. You know what it is. Saturday vibes. Let's go get paid.
Hell yeah, Kongs. Much love, my dude. Appreciate you. Shout out again to our guy Kongs, man. And he said it, man. We need this in every living room. We need you guys to share it. We were up at 168 just a second ago in the chat, so almost 170. We're down a little bit, but still pretty high. Get it to 200. I'll do another $25 giveaway for you guys. Push it up, hit the like. We still got a lot to get through. We're an hour into this show already, and we still got a lot of games to talk about. Moose has a lot of games to talk about. I have early action that I want to talk about. Our guy Dutch Boy Fresh should be dropping in here any minute. Also, I really quick, Moose, I want to pull this one up just because it's an early one, and I want to see your thoughts on this. This is a big game here, you know, with again, playoff ramifications, playoff implications here. You know, Navy has been doing the damn thing just like Army, so shout out to Navy. And then you got Notre Dame, you know, outside of their loss that they just completely threw the hiccup against Northern Illinois. I mean, they've been playing good football. I personally took Notre Dame here in the first half. I took Notre Dame -7. I just think that this is going to be too much for Navy. I'm going to be honest. As a Navy team that wants to run the football, Notre Dame doesn't let you do that. I don't care who you are. Notre Dame has their faults. It's not on their front seven on defense. I think Notre Dame's going to shut Navy down. Navy's not going to. And again, I realize that Navy throws the ball more now. But the key word there is more, right? They throw the ball more. They still their passing game is still predicated on setting up the run, and I don't think Navy is going to be able to set the run up here against Notre Dame. So I got the Fighting Irish first half -7. What's your thoughts on this one, Moose?
I mean, I think we have to start the discussion with strength of schedule. Notre Dame has played the 18th toughest schedule, and Navy has played the 17th. Oh no, sorry, the 117th toughest schedule. They've played nobody. I mean, they've Memphis. That's been their biggest opponent. And sidebar, my dad was actually at that game. He said that was the most enjoyable, the most exciting college football game he's ever been to. And was happy to hear that he had that kind of experience. But that's also the best game or the best opponent that Navy has played. The money has come in on Navy. You've seen 65% of the tickets, 68% of the cash. And what has the line done? It has gone up. So the line makers are telling you that Notre Dame is definitely to be feared here. You're going to see Navy that has added a lot more passing than they've ever had in their entire history and their entire program. They have done actually pretty damn well passing the ball. They ranked 12th in offensive success rate and 41st. I'm sorry. They've ranked 12th in offensive success rate, and they've ranked 5th in EPA per drop back. You know, they're not going to do it a lot. You know, they're not going to see like 40 passing plays, but they have done it more and they've done it successfully. But this is going to be the rush game for Navy against the rush defense for Notre Dame. And the rush defense for Notre Dame ranks 42nd in defensive rush percentage, but they are 6th in the country in EPA per rush. And Notre Dame has had to face some decent opponents here. And specifically, you look at the A&M game. Are we going to say that Navy has a more potent running back than Le'Veon Moss? I don't see that. I'd like Navy as a program. I would love to see them win here, but Notre Dame is the side. They are the better team. I would not be surprised if Riley Leonard rushing props became a little bit of a thing here. I'm not sure how many people are looking at that. But
Dutch,
Navy,
shout out to him. He's come up here and given that out to you guys before on this tailgate. And I think he'll be here. He's got a best bet for you guys too. We might even have somebody else making their debut, Moose. But yeah, Dutch.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because Navy has struggled against the run. They are 96th in defensive success rate against the rush, and they are 69th in the country in EPA per rush. I think Riley Leonard rush prop here might be kind of the best play for me. I'm not going to do it because we already heard Dutch talk about this before. If you get sacked in the NCAA in college football, that counts against you. So you can end up with negative yards. And I'm not saying that Navy has the type of pass rush to do that. Riley Leonard has been very good in not allowing sacks to happen. But you know, if it does, Riley Leonard scrambling quarterback, sometimes those losses can be significant. But Riley Leonard rush prop would be the only way I'd get in here. I really like your first half look. Notre Dame is a side for me, but I'm not going to get there. I will be rooting for Navy.
Let's real quick hit this chat one more time before we keep this rolling, because we got a lot, guys. We're like I said, over an hour, and we still got plenty of games to get to. We just had over 170 people in here rocking with us. I love doing this with you guys. I'm probably going to do the giveaway regardless of if we get to 200 or not. But let's just do it. Let's just hit that 200. Shout out to our guy Swig Bets right here in the chat, man. If you guys don't go to pubsportsradio.com, you're missing out, okay? Type it in, pubsportsradio.com. There's a list of, great cappers, whether it's Moose, me, Jimmy, whoever it might be, right? Big Show, like everybody's name is on there. And every time we post a bet, we put it on the website. So you can go on there. You can see a list of everybody's bets. And also the UFC is starting early today. I think it's already started. But every week we do a competition, a UFC competition. It's completely free to enter, and we give $100 to the winner. All you got to do is sign up and go through and click who you think's going to win the fight and how they're going to win it. It's simple as shit. Pubsportsradio.com. That's what you got to do. But we're going to keep it rolling, man. Good to see everybody in here. Ricky Bobby, my guy in the chat, man. Let me know what you're on, Ricky. Lou Chase Fox. Yeah, this is more professional than the sesh. The sesh still running, though. We still do our damn thing. This is just a little different vibe.
One more thing. This game is not being played at Navy. It's actually being played in New York.
That's important. I was going to say, Moose, I want to start going to some of your best bets. Like I said, Dutch and somebody else should be popping in here with us, but we're going to keep it rolling until they do get here. So what's the first one that you want to graphic you want me to put up here?
Let's go Georgia Tech at Miami, or at Virginia Tech. Sorry. Georgia Tech at Virginia.
I should definitely have that one. Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. If not, I made a banner with it. Come on, where is it? Here, I'll just take this one off, and you can go ahead and start intro it. But just so everybody knows, we're talking about Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech here. I'll find the graphic in just a minute.
Yeah, so you look at how these offenses have worked, and these offenses have been very good. I'm on the over here, just a spoiler alert. You look at Virginia Tech and their offense and how they've been rolling recently. I mean, Kyron Drones has really started to kind of figure some things out after a very inconsistent beginning of the year. But the big addition, or at least the big solution, has been Tootin in the backfield, who has just been running all over defenses. Georgia Tech has been they've been suspect to the drop back. They have not looked good. They rank 103rd in EPA drop back, and they rank 114th in drop back success percentage. They've been decent against the run, but Virginia Tech, they have a dynamic running game where you kind of have to guard and have to be ready for two things. You have to be ready for drones potentially holding on a PO, or you have to be ready to commit to the box and stop Tootin. I think Virginia Tech is going to do enough things down the field to keep Georgia Tech from stacking the box here, because you really can't stack the box if Drones has the capability of going down the field. He's not a great downfield passer, but when you talk about a defense that ranks 89th in Eckel in terms of how they defend the longer plays and the bigger plays, especially the ones going into their territory, I think Virginia Tech, especially at home in Blacksburg, is going to be able to get some bigger plays. We've been seeing it more. The reason that you see the echo rate on Virginia Tech lower is beginning of the year, they really, really struggled. Specifically, Drones struggled on completing some of those downfield passes. And we've started to see that more and more as the season's gone on here, is that his downfield passing has gotten better. The Virginia Tech defense, if you look at the other side, they are pretty much average against the rush. And that's something Georgia Tech is really going to want to do. And the other issue here would be Haynes King, because he did have an injury and he is expected to be back here, but it's not 100% sure. But even if he's not back, Pyron, who came in and led the Georgia Tech offense, he looked solid. I mean, he wasn't a huge step down. He was running the ball just as effectively. He was passing the ball pretty effectively. So even if King is out, I'm still still confident in this over. So I took the over. I took it at earlier in the week, and I think it stayed there at 53 minus 110. So I'm on the over here, 53 at minus 110.
This Georgia Tech team, man, it's like, early in the year, especially that Florida State game, a lot of people were on them, and they've seemed like a good dog. It's just you look at the every time they play a little bit better competition, whether it's Notre Dame or Louisville, it gets ugly, man. It gets ugly, and this was a hard spot for me. So I didn't bet this one. Moose, what did you say you were official with right here again?
Over 53 minus 110.
Over 53. Okay, so you got the over, so you're not on the side here. Again, I'm going to let you recap yours at the end of this, Moose. Yeah, I didn't bet this one. I thought, shout out to my guy Dutch. I thought maybe he would be on Georgia Tech here, and the fact that he wasn't, since he's had a good read on this team, the fact that he wasn't kind of kept me off. So
yeah,
on the chat, Steve G dropped a little bumblebee, so I guess he's looking Georgia Tech way.
Buzz. I mean, the Haynes King injury, I can understand why people would want to stay off of that. Especially, I'm not sure if anybody paid attention to how it got played out last week. But Brent Key was like, oh, he's day to day. He's day to day. He's day to day. He's day to day. And then all of a sudden, he's not even in pregame warmups. He didn't even suit up. It's like he was nowhere close to playing last week. And then again this week, he's day to day. He's day to day. He's day to day. It's like, okay, if he plays, great. But I want him to be 100%, especially when you have Pyron back there. He was fine. He had no issues. And Virginia Tech, their secondary is getting better, but I still think Georgia Tech finds some success on the ground here, especially when Jamal Haynes is back there. That dude's pretty legit. So I feel good about the over here.
Bro, I love seeing people like my guy Super True Story dropping in and asking, are we riding with Hoover today? Because it lets me, because that's one of the props that I haven't posted every week. Sometimes I keep things for you guys that listen and pay attention, right? I love it. I love it that you've been riding that with me. I'm on it, man. It is a hell of a number. A hell of a number. 322.5 is what I got at minus 115. But I am on Hoover going against my, alum, Texas Tech. If you ask me, I think he gets 350 to 370. Like I said, that's a hell of a number at 322.5. But where would I put the number? Probably 320 something. So yeah, I'm on it. I'm gonna ride with him. He hasn't given me any reason not to. And he's cashed for me every time but one time when I bet him this year. So
and Gorjan just dropped in the chat, the King is listed out. I'm not sure the source of score. But even if, like I mentioned, even if he is, I already capped it with the idea that he probably was, still have zero issue with Pyron back there.
Shout out to our guy Robert Martin in the chat, man. Good to see you. He said Georgia Tech plus 10.5 revenge for Virginia Tech angle from 2000. Oh, so long revenge, huh? Long revenge. Shout out to you, Robert.
Long con.
Hey, my guy Dutch did show up backstage. He's not on camera, so we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna let Moose bring another one up, and I'll intro him when he's back. But just to let you guys know, Dutch has one best bet for you guys here. He came on and went 4-1 last week, and then I think 3-0 the week before that. So Dutch has been on fire, coming at the end of this show, just bringing the heat. I'll double check that record with him when he gets on. But he's about to come just bring you guys one best bet. Moose, what's one more we want to hit on real quick before he pops back there?
Let's go to Maryland, and it's cold in Minnesota. Let's go to Maryland, Minnesota.
Okay. Maryland, Minnesota. I keep seeing these. Maryland, Minnesota. Maryland, Minnesota. I tell you what. How about, and Dutch just showed up backstage again. How about we let him do his because he's only got one, and then I get this graphic so I can find it. Sound good?
Yep.
I'm so bad at these graphics, guys. Shout out to you guys in the chat still here with us, man. We, like I said, been killing it. I got to double check with them, but 4-1 last week. I think 3-0 the week before that. Been doing nothing but bringing you guys winners here on this show. And it's early. It's early on the West Coast. I know some of you guys are on the West Coast, but getting up and getting on screen this early, I can't tell them how much I appreciate them. You guys might see us talk shit to each other on the sesh, but it's all love, man. This is my boy, and I appreciate him showing up and bringing you guys the heat. Shout out my dude, Dutch Boy Fresh. What up, Dutch?
Fellas, how we doing, man? Top of the motherfucking morning to my guy, Daby Cab. Moose Money Bets, Diego's finest in the building. Good to see you, my man.
What's up,
Justin, Dutch? Mr. Stacks in the chat as always. Dougie Weiss, Robert Martin, True Teller. Shit, man. It's only right, like our boy Wham Bam would say. Got all these real ones showing out. I got to show up. And Cab make it sound like that was very kind of you, Cab, but God damn it, I think that's your way of apologizing for just waking me up, telling me that I'm not going to win unless I get on the show. Is that?
I didn't say that, bro. I said
he sends me a text like 12 last night. Late night. Hey, just so you know, you've been doing real good. I think it has something to do with the tailgate. Like, we need you tomorrow. And I'm like,
I'm just saying.
So I wake up thinking, fuck, dude, if I got to do the show to win, But and it's not. I love the show. Don't get it wrong. It's just, and I think Cab's a little just, about the numbers, but it has nothing to do with you guys. I mean, it's the fucking shittiest Saturday we've had. It is a beautiful thing. It is Saturday football. We have money to be made, but I will not bullshit you. It's a light card. It's a real light card, in my opinion. I seen that game that was talking right before the Virginia Tech. I looked at Georgia Tech. I'm like, but Tech has turned the page, man. They really have. Mm-hmm. They've impressed me. I was looking at Tootin because I've been cashing on him, but 99, Georgia Tech will give it up. 99, no, I don't know if I'm going to take 100 yards to cash a prop. I also heard my guy Moose talking about Riley Leonard, over 54.5, I believe, maybe 55. Maybe gives it up. I was looking at Love too, but I'm scared with these quarterback props because you mentioned it, Moose. You get sacked, and there it goes. So it has to be really, really appealing to me to take a quarterback rushing prop in college right now. But the game, I have one play. I have a play I bet largely in the NBA too, so I would like to give that out.
Hell yeah, I know everybody wants to hear that too.
Play on the board, and we did hit the Knickerbockers, do damage, as our boy Razor Sharp Picks would say. All three yesterday, first quarter, first half. It wasn't even close. We talked about it Thursday night. The Knicks were a smash spot yesterday, and they absolutely fucking smashed. So a little association on a Saturday, too, won't hurt nobody. But let's go to Vanderbilt. Let's go to fucking Tennessee.
Let me pull this up.
Nashville. Hey, somewhere in Tennessee.
Nate, Moose was on the over, correct?
Yep, over Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. The Techs.
So what's the look? Look at Nate coming in with that attitude. Shout out to our guy, Nasty Nate. Good to have you. He's on the over.
Yeah, I like the over.
You gave the Knicks out, man, on Jimmy's show, and you said it. You said, just like Razor Sharp Pick says do damage. You gave it out Thursday night, said do damage, and wrong. Yep, there we go. And it was money, man. It was money, so good call.
And those ones always feel good, Cap. I know you have these in college when everyone's on the other side, kind of. I'm not going to say everyone. I know Stacks was on the Knicks, too, but a lot of motherfuckers thought Indiana was getting a little, or, Knicks were getting a little too much love. But move on today. And we got Vanderbilt here. Man, this team has been so beautiful to me. If I could think of one team that I want to just grab onto and really appreciate, it's the Vanderbilt Commodores, And what I like to do with these teams is find quarterbacks. And I've talked about that to you a lot, Cap. How I cap college football is I obviously it's week to week with me and things of that nature. And I dive into teams and there's certain situations. But when you have a quarterback that you believe in and the team believes in, shit trickles down, man. It gives you hope. There's a reason why they beat Alabama as fucking 20-something point dogs, They and then the next week they turn around and beat Kentucky after beating Alabama. They traveled to Kentucky the very next week, ladies and gentlemen, as a 13 point dog and win outright. And the game wasn't close. They went to Kentucky and punked them. And that's not an easy place to play. They played absolutely above, just really, really good football, and it's all led by Diego Pavi. I love this guy. I think he's a true winner. He brought his coach along. They're bought the fuck in. It's like, why overthink this shit? Yeah, Texas just played Georgia, and Georgia beat them. So now they lose their guy, Ewers. He says, you know what? You benched me. I'm not coming back. So now they got Arch Manning. I'm big on Archie, but he's still a lot of new to him. It's still a lot of new shit to him. Vanderbilt, they got some belief there in that crowd, in that team. The shit, it's just so hard to even explain. But Diego Pavia will be in this game. They might fuck around and even win this game. But I took the 17.5 to the motherfucking window. I think it's an auto bet. If you've been betting Vanderbilt all year, how do you not bet them now as the same position as you've been cashing on them each and every week as a big dog against someone who's just so much superior, right?
So, a lot of, this is a best bet show, but a lot of what I like to do is analyze the games for you guys and give you guys thoughts on it. What Sarkisian did last week, taking Ewers out of the game when they were down 20-0. And there's a lot of different opinions, and you guys can tell me what you think, but that shit don't sit right with me, man. When you've got, and I understand how good Archie Manning is, but when you've got a quarterback like Ewers, like roll with your guy. Like
he's
sitting
an
down,
NFL guy, dude. I mean, how many games has he won for them? 20 points ain't shit. 20 points ain't shit. You score one play, you make one drive, and then make one play on defense, and it's a game again. And 20 points ain't shit. So that could separate the locker room a little bit because you could have guys there that went freshman, sophomore, that been with him for a couple of years, and then you just put him on. Now he leaves. You might got some feelings going this way and that way in the locker room. And I'm telling you right now, Texas might be better than Alabama, but they're not that much better. And I don't think they're that much better in the trenches than Alabama, even though this Texas defense is for real. And Vanderbilt punked Alabama. They literally punked them for 4 quarters.
Yeah, they won the game. Yeah,
they won the game, did anything they wanted. We're up by 7. We're up by double digits. They didn't win the game late. Alabama went into Vandy, and Vanderbilt was clearly the better team for 4 quarters. I do not think Texas is going to come in there and just punk the Vanderbilt Commodores. It's not going to happen today. So give me the 17.5 to the window.
Our guy in the chat, I think it was Chip, asked how we had Texas number 1. We don't do the graphics, so that's not us. We know Texas is not number 1.
I was thinking, I was like, didn't these motherfuckers lose last week, Chip? Yeah, man.
I just saw that. What the fuck?
Yeah, shout out Oregon.
It bugged me for a second, but I was like, nah, I know what I fucking seen last week because we were on them dogs, and them dogs bullied Texas from start to finish. Getting five, giving us free fucking money, man. Free fucking money. Shout out to Cab too, because he was on it right away. It took me 3 or 4 days to come around. Hey, but I got over that motherfucking mountain.
I said something about that every day. I was so pumped for that game. I wish I could say the same about LSU A&M. I do not like the lineman coming out. The left tackle is a huge loss for A&M. Moose, what's your thoughts on this one, man? You bet this one?
I mean, the issue for Vanderbilt with me is the offensive line. The offensive line has been, I'm not sure what word you'd have instead of atrocious, but they've been worse than atrocious. Their pass blocking, their best game was last week against Ball State, where they ranked a 76.1 on PFF. Before that, they didn't clear 63. So, and their average was like a 40. Their average was a 52 in terms of pass blocking, and their average for run blocking was a 55. Can Texas get after the quarterback here? Can Texas kind of create havoc? Diego Pavia is like his own offensive line just by himself. He can create and elude better than any other quarterback I have seen. But Texas has got to prove something here. Last week, I'll admit it, I was on Texas and I was on them first half, and kind of stepping back, you go, all right, Texas might not be what I think a lot of us were seeing early, especially when they went to Michigan and just looked like they were such a dominant team. I can't get to the window on either side here. This looks like it should be a Texas correction spot. Texas doesn't exactly have anything coming up. Florida at home next week, Arkansas the following week. Vanderbilt has Auburn next week, so there's no real look ahead here. It's just tough to buy in on Vanderbilt, especially when I saw them lose to Georgia State. So even though they've played and won some really big games, shout out Dutch, you've been on them, and you've been on them the right way. But I got on them the wrong way. I caught them on the wrong corner on 3rd and Bleecker, and that's not the corner you pick them up on. You pick them up on Rodeo, and that's the Bleecker. That's the road that you gone. So I'm off here.
Hey, I like the reference. I tell you what, turn into a college football town. Don't look now. Turn it into a college football town. Vandy's going to be, the environment's going to be lit for this game. They remember what happened against Alabama, and they want more of it. They want more blood. Dutch,
and let's talk about it real quick, Cab. Let's talk about Texas for a second here. Are they really this good? I think they're a little fugazi, and that's why I was able to come around to Georgia last week. Look at their schedule. Moose just touched on it. Memphis or Michigan, right? Michigan ain't good, bro. They're not good. They don't even have a fucking quarterback. Mississippi State, that was the SEC team you beat. Everybody's beat them. You beat Colorado State. You beat fucking little Jose's team, and you beat Oklahoma, who's probably fucking the worst we've seen Oklahoma since I can remember. I don't remember watching Oklahoma football being this bad. We'll get our guy Daby Cab back right here.
That's why we have producers, because I thought I just ended the stream. I have no fucking idea what button I just pressed. I was like, oh shit, I just ended the stream.
Well, so I don't think Texas is, to touch on a little bit of what Moose says, I sure as hell don't think the Longhorns are that pedestal that we put them on when they fucking look like the best thing going against Michigan. So I'm very happy with the Vanderbilt play. And outside of that, guys, I don't really like too much today. Like I could rock with the Indiana. I don't like the fact that Washington's off a bye. I want to look a little bit more into like how long have they been in Indiana? Did they make the adjustments right? After the Iowa situation, I would think they probably deal with this one a little bit better. But Indiana's been a powerhouse. Washington has the talent, but they find a way to fuck it up. They get in the red zone and automatically they'll move the ball right down the field and then get in the red zone and have a false start. Like
go backwards.
Just go backwards. So they're a very, very frustrating team. Watching them against Iowa, I was like, wow, they actually were pretty impressive at certain times against Iowa on drives, and then get in the red zone and just like, you're like, all right, good. We're going to fucking blow them out. So watch out for that game. But I'm kind of I heard a little bit of what Collins was saying. I got to ride with Indiana. They've been money, but something tells me Washington might show up a little bit in there. So I'm going to stay off Indiana. But let's go to the NBA, man. I'll root for my guy with the Aggies and LSU. I obviously think there's a clear advantage on the quarterback position, but I think the line's moving back to where you want now, Cap. When it was getting up a little bit, I'm like,
is it moving back towards A&M?
No. I think this is what you want. I don't think you want A&M at 3.
No.
I'm taking LSU at 3. I think because it had like a vibe of the Notre Dame A&M game to me. So I don't think you want 3.5 with LSU. You want where it's at now, and I think the Aggies will handle business. And I'll save my money and root for you. Let's get to the NBA. Big game today. And I really like this game. I know it's Tailgate, but what you guys want money? Let's fucking get the money, man.
Exactly. It's a best bet show. First and foremost.
Luka the motherfucking Don. Dallas motherfucking Mavericks. Kyrie. Clay, hey, Clay Thompson, our boy Daby Cab, text me over 16.5. I said, hit me. I like the threes. Boom, got them both. Hit the threes and the over 16.5. Came with 22. Played some motherfucking defense too. Watch out now. Clay out there to prove something. We're gonna be shooting, bro. Yeah. We're gonna be backing the Dallas Mavericks here tonight in Phoenix. I got it last night at -2.5. I think it's at 3 now, but they win this game by double digits. And, people could say maybe it's square, maybe it is what it is. But KD and these boys played 38 minutes last night, a competitive game in LA. They're already top heavy. Booker, Beal, 34 minutes. Kevin Durant played 38 minutes last night. Back-to-back, traveling to Phoenix. Also had a tough game in overtime against the Clippers 2 nights ago. So you got the overtime game, then you play the Lakers last night. And then now you got to travel home to face the Dallas Mavericks, who are well rested and looked like at any time they could flip the switch on San Antonio. They were down 2 at half, kind of just cruise controlled in the fourth quarter. Ended up covering the 9.5, winning by 12. So don't get it twisted. The Mavs are still the motherfucking Mavs. They still got Luka the Don. And they are going to go in there and smack around the Phoenix Suns. They really will. Suns, Tyus Jones, too small to guard anybody on that court, whether it be Kyrie, whether it be Luka, Clay. Definitely a defensive liability here, Tyus Jones will be. And then let's be honest, Bradley Beal is not the best defensive player. And I think KD, PJ could get a little bit of body on him. And also he's going to be tired after playing 38 minutes last night. So we're not overthinking it, ladies and gentlemen. We're taking Luka the motherfucking Don and the Dallas Mavericks to smack a tired, not that good Phoenix Suns team, because the Lakers punked them in the second half as well last night. Dallas Mavericks -2.5, -3, whatever you can get. It's good money.
There you go. And Moose and I aren't going to go back and forth on this one. That's all you need to hear. All you need to hear is Dutch's analysis on it. You got the Mavericks. This is a best bet show. He brought you some action in the NBA also. We got plenty of action. I've got to recap it all because we got a bunch of it here. We got to get to Moose's best bets, and then I want to go over mine also. Dutch, thank you again, man. I know it's early. Just bless that Vanderbilt action.
I'm planning to listen to Moose, if you don't mind.
You gonna hang out?
Yeah, at least till my plane's here. You got me out of bed. My wife's sleeping. Like, what the fuck else? I might as well
Hell yeah. Well, obviously. You stay
I'm not going to say much, so I'm just going to listen.
Okay,
because I'm hoping I can get some more play. I got one bet on college football today. It's kind of gross. So let's see if I can get something else on the board here, please. I need something to do, goddammit.
I took Notre Dame first half -7 if you want early action. Moose, what's the next game that you want to take? Just tell me. I'll keep asking you. We'll go to the games you're interested in, and then we'll have people drop questions. We'll recap the bets. But what's the next one, Moose?
We were about to get into Maryland, Minnesota. It's cold in Minnesota before we brought Dutch on.
And I feel like I could not find a graphic for this one. So go ahead and start it. Maryland, Minnesota, guys. If I don't find a graphic, I'm sorry. Maryland, Minnesota, though. Go ahead, Moose.
Yeah, so this is a really, really bad spot for Maryland because they're coming off of the really good win against USC. But guess what's on deck for Maryland? They go, again, on the road, the second game of a back-to-back road series, or road trips, I should say. And they go to Oregon next week. So Minnesota looks like a very good spot here against the Maryland team that's coming flying high off of the win against USC. And you look at Maryland and how they do against the run, because quite frankly, that's a lot of what Minnesota does. And their defense success rate is 63rd in the country against the rush. They are better in terms of EPA, but Minnesota is going to be running the ball. Petey, sorry, my dog is trying to wreak havoc here with my video here. Hey, over here. So sorry, behind the scenes, curtain being pulled back a little bit. But I think that Minnesota is able to establish the running game. I really like what they have been able to do. They have been the better team ATS. Maryland has been pretty up and down. I am not sold on Maryland being able to replace Tua Jr., and it's kind of looked inconsistent this year. It's just the question of, can Minnesota continue to be what they had been early in the year against the passing game? And they have been. Other significant factor here that really put me on Minnesota is you look at how well Maryland has pass blocked, which is not well at all. And Minnesota has been able to generate a pass rush. I think they are able to get to the quarterback. They're able to create some havoc. And I see Minnesota winning this. I took it double dip. I went first half because that was the preferred play. Minnesota first half has been absolutely money this year. The only games they did not cover, I believe, was they've covered every single. I think they've covered every single first half. They won against North Carolina. They had in Iowa. They had the lead against Iowa. They just lost those games late. Maryland has been very hit or miss. They have yet to cover on the road. So I got Minnesota here. I took it the -5. The cash and tickets have also backed Minnesota. So the line has been going down, but Minnesota here at the -5 for me. Oh, Cab, you're muted.
Oh, man, I did so good today. I didn't bet this one, so I don't want to weigh in on it too much, but you got Minnesota. I like it. And we're at the hour 30 mark, so we got, 10 more minutes or so, so let's just keep it rolling.
One question, Cap, for Moose and yourself, and I know you might have talked about – have you talked about the BYU-UCF game yet?
Briefly, yeah.
Which one?
UCF-BYU. Why the fuck is BYU getting 2.5?
Bro, that's a tough one, Dutch. It's like – so wine time's on UCF. I think, Moose, were you on UCF?
No, I stayed off. I just didn't like the line movement, how it switched.
Everybody that we respect that's in the chat or come on screen, they're all UCF. I don't know, man. And with the fact that only I think Wine Time said 30% of the money or 34% of the money is on UCF, and they completely flipped the line. That's fishy as fuck. I was going to bet BYU, and I was going to be the squarest person that you guys know, but I didn't do it.
Wham gave it out on Monday. If you recall, Medicaid Monday, he gave out BYU, and I think it was the worst line.
Yeah, they were -2.5. Now they're +2.5 now. It's completely and totally flipped.
Why? I mean, why? Because the way they looked against Oklahoma State, that was a play up game for the Okie. They were getting through the rakes and through the coals with that team. So you kind of felt they were, and everybody loved BYU -9.5, 10, right? So I just had a feeling Oklahoma State was going to show up. But this fucking UCF team, Jefferson's not even there no more. Like, they lost they lost 4 straight. Who's the quarterback? I mean, is he that good?
Ja'Cory Brown, very fast guy. He runs a 4.6 40. So the idea is that they're going to be deploying a speed rush attack against BYU. But they already faced a speed rush attack in Kansas State.
And Kansas State beat them, right?
No, they beat Kansas State.
Oh, that was
that was BYU.
Okay. All right, BYU beat, yeah, because BYU is 7-0. I mean, they impressed me. Has UCF played K-State? No. Okay.
Hey, before we go to the next one, I want to go ahead and say this. Chat, go ahead and start dropping your questions, because when we wrap this, it goes quick. Just do me a favor and put Moose or just put something in front of it so I can notice it, so I can star it, because we want to hit you guys' questions if we have games or props that we haven't covered yet. And I will recap all the bets. I know we got a lot of bets. I'll recap those. Moose, what's next?
You know what? I just saw it drop in the chat. Let's go West Virginia.
Gotcha.
Mountaineers.
West Virginia.
Oh, fuck. That's
Them
Virginia.
tears.
Trying to mount something today, huh, Moose?
Does everything look like it says West Virginia?
What was that?
I
Huh?
thought that said West Virginia, and it was definitely not. It was just Virginia. Go ahead and start it. Here it is. Gotcha. West Virginia. On Arizona.
He's the best at this. He's the best at finding the graphics. You know, I wouldn't even try. I'd be like, fuck this.
Bro, it takes so much energy out of my brain, like fucking going through it the whole time. Like,
That's
damn,
exactly
I
what
never
I'm
realized
thinking.
how nice it is to have a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this game, I really like West Virginia here. I don't trust the West Virginia defense at all. You look at Tufita, and he has looked awful the last couple of weeks. Anybody that watched that Colorado game, one of the things that they harped on about Tufita was his crazy deep drop back. I mean, it's like 8-10 yards that he'll drop back, and you could see him going back and forth between like 8-yard drop back to like just a 3-step drop. I don't even know how many steps he takes on that 8-10 yard drop back. It's sure as hell more than a 5-step drop back. But the West Virginia pass rush has been pretty decent, but their secondary has been awful. I mean, they're picking up guys from the local JV squads to get out there and play DB. So I don't trust the West Virginia defense at all, but I also don't trust Arizona to score and pass because Tufita has looked really poor recently. I mean, he's overthrowing guys even in clean pockets. It looks like the offense is trying to figure out what their identity is after a year where they looked really good passing the ball, and now they're kind of going, oh, do we need to run more? Do we need to get Cooley more involved? All those different things. But I think West Virginia scores here. The last 2 weeks, they struggled against two better defenses in Kansas State and Iowa State, and they only scored a combined 34 points. Before that, they scored 34 points on average in almost all their games besides Penn State. 49 against Albany. I'm not even going to mention that. But 34 against Pittsburgh, 32 against Kansas, 38 against Oklahoma State. And you look at what Arizona has been getting up recently, 34 to Colorado, 41 to BYU, 28 to Texas Tech before that, 31 to Kansas State. And if my team total for West Virginia, and I believe it was at 26.5, and it was at 26.5, and I got that at plus money, I took West Virginia team total over 26.5 at plus 120. And I also took the first half because Arizona has been buns in the first half as well, not stopping anybody. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. So I'm thinking that West Virginia gets up early. I'm not overly confident that they hold Arizona on bay, but man, West Virginia scoring points here. That's what I got, and that's what I got to the window with. West Virginia team total over full game, 26.5. West Virginia first half team total over 12.5, plus 100, plus money in the pocket.
Bang. 2 more fucking shots fired right there for you guys on this West Virginia Arizona game.
I'm
Moose, we got 1 or 2 more that I need to pull up before we start getting to questions and recaps.
Yeah, this one right here from Jim.
Which one is that? The Spartan
Oh,
Bull Race?
obviously we need to cover that. I bet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like Dolan's Mullins in this, but it's fucking 99. We've been cashing off him, Cap. The rush prop easy, but it's a little high today. Get a Moose.
I mean, I could only be on Michigan State here, but I can't get to the window. If it was at Michigan State, I think I would. But what's ironic is I think Michigan State is 3-0 in their last 3 trips ATS against Michigan, and has actually won more than they've lost against Michigan the last 6 years. Michigan State seemed to have their number, but I'm not overly confident here. But that would be the only side I'd be on. Michigan, God damn, has this been a drop off? I mean, dude, Donovan Edwards is literally on the cover of EA Sports, the college football game, and he's not even the goddamn starting running back anymore. So, what the hell is that telling you about that program? Michigan State was the only side I just couldn't get there. I had it written down. I was looking at it. Looks like the money kind of is favoring Michigan a little bit, but not too much. But I couldn't back the Spartans here. I just couldn't get there. That'd be the only side I look at.
Yeah, Edwards had 2 fumbles back to back last week, bro, against Illinois. Yeah. Mullins is the guy. But hey, I appreciate you. I'm gonna get up out of here, Cap. I appreciate you, Moose, the knowledge. I like Michigan a little bit, so I'll stay off of that. I'm trying to get a little more action, but the NBA will get us paid most definitely as well. But Vanderbilt plus 17.5. It's got to be a look. It's got to be a look, ladies and gentlemen. Cab, as always, it's nice on the tailgate, man. Nice to vibe with you. All the real ones in the chat, show some love. Run the likes up. Go to Post Sports Radio. Retweet the show. You know the motherfucking deal. Let's get the motherfucking money today. Y'all stay fresh.
Oh yeah, appreciate you, Dutch. Man, shout out to my dude right there. Mondays, man, you know the deal. The sesh, Medicate Monday. If you guys aren't tuning in, you're missing out. We need you there with us. Moose, did you? I know I'm kind of going quick. Did you have another one though before we start recapping?
I mean, I do have a couple of games we haven't talked about. I can talk about quickly Cincinnati and Colorado because I can go right off the top of my head. I don't even have to look up anything in my Moose Dive.
Beautiful. Cincinnati, Colorado. Go ahead and start it, and when I find the graphic, I'll get it up.
All right. So as PV decides to join the show, I got the over here. Colorado at home. That has been an absolute over wagon. It has gone over every single year or every single week this year. In Cincinnati, they absolutely have the type of offense that can move the ball on Colorado. They are able to go either on the ground game or they can go through the air. Sorsby has been very talented, has been looked very good this year. I would expect Travis Hunter to probably mirror and probably shadow Xavier Henderson, but they got other dudes. I mean, Cincinnati's got multiple guys, just like Colorado. They got multiple receivers. I really think that this game is going to go over the total because primetime and showtime in the Big Mountain.
This is a low total. Yeah. I mean, not low. I mean, it's high, but I mean, low for these two teams. I agree with that.
Yeah. And the issue with Cincinnati has been their red zone. Like they've just been, poor in the red zone. And Colorado hasn't been awful in the red zone, but they have been much worse in the red zone at home than they have been on the road. It seems like on the road, they kind of lock it down a little bit, or maybe just because the crowd is a little quieter, they're able to get their play calls in a little bit more efficiently. But at home, like they have not done well in the red zone, but they have done very well on the road. So I like Cincinnati to score here, and Cincinnati's defense has been not good. They have not been great here, and Colorado has looked much, much better. What's his name? Pat Shurmur has somehow found a running game with a running game that looked like it was non-existent beginning of the year. So I'm going to take the over here. It has gone up a full point since I bet it. I did get the 56.5. It is now up at 57.5. And I think I see a 58 is that Bet Online? I think I see a 58 out there. So it's going up. The money has been backing that. The money has been steaming it. But the over here is really good. Anything under 60, because I do think both teams get 30. And if you want to take a team total on either of them, that's fine. But I do see points here.
So I tell you what, Moose, since we got to recap everything and you might have a couple more games to touch on, we're still up over 160 people with us. I appreciate you guys in the chat rocking with us. And like Dutch said, this may be not the best week game-wise, so we still got up to 180 today. I'll do it. I'll still do it, the giveaway. When the show ends, leave a comment. Guess the score of the A&M LSU game. Also, obviously, who wins. And whoever gets the closest, as long as somebody gets who wins the game right this time, whoever's the closest, we'll shoot 25 to next time on the show when we get here live. But thank you guys again, man. Like I said, over 160 people still rocking with us. We're an hour and 45 minutes into the show. You guys are still dropping bets, dropping good knowledge. Moose has still got a couple more to give you guys. I want to recap my bets for you guys, and then we're going to get paid today. That's the deal. What's the next one, Moose?
Let's go Auburn, Kentucky.
Auburn, Kentucky. All right. As always, I'll find it. Go ahead and start.
All right. I got the under here. You look at Auburn, and their defense has actually been playing better. It wasn't until late in the second half against Missouri that you could see Missouri kind of start to move the ball. Yes, it coincides with Brady Cook going out and leaving the game. But that was a furious finish to that game. And I saw an Auburn defense was like, okay, they look better. And the reason that Missouri was able to score later was because Auburn was giving the ball back in very good field position. They just weren't able to move the ball. So they were punting the ball basically to the 35, 40-yard line almost every single possession. And Kentucky, their defense has been solid. I do think that, and their games have trended under. But I do think that this is a slow, methodical game. Yes, Auburn has run more plays on the road than they have at home. But Kentucky can slow this game down, and Auburn can slow this game down. Peyton Thorne is nothing that I'm worried about in terms of who's back there moving the ball. The side that I'm concerned with on the total would be Kentucky. I don't think they have the dynamic offense. You look at some of their games and the totals that they put up there, they are not all that up. They are not all that impressive. As I kind of pull up the Kentucky numbers on what they've done this year. But I think that this is a low-scoring game. I think that the total going up has been a little kind of, that's weird. But you look at their last scores, 20 points against Florida, 13 against Vanderbilt, 20 against Mississippi, 12 against Georgia, 6 against South Carolina. The only games where they crossed the 21-point threshold was against Ohio, MAC Ohio, and Southern Miss. So is Auburn a better defense than Ohio and Southern Miss? Yeah, they're a better defense than that. So Auburn just has to stop a Kentucky defense or Kentucky offense that has struggled to score the ball, and Kentucky defense has to score or stop an Auburn offense that has struggled to move the ball. The under here is really good to me. Pace of play shouldn't really concern me too much, but I do like the under.
Under Auburn, Kentucky, 43.5 is where it's sitting at. I think if that line's current, it's the only way I'd go in this one too. I wouldn't take a side. I'd only take the under. Kentucky does have a defense. They just don't have anything else. Man, Robert Martin, Lucky, UPK, thank you guys for still rocking, man. I'm going to say it one more time. When the show ends, guess the score of the LSU A&M game. I'm going to send $25 to whoever gets the closest at it. Hit the like button if you guys haven't. We still got to recap all our action, Moose. Did you have any more? We can keep going. As long as you got games, I want you to get it out. And so does
that was it for me. I'm still leaning on the LSU Texas A&M. I'm waiting to see if a McMillan receiving yards prop shows up in the Arizona West Virginia game because, like I mentioned earlier, the coverage for West Virginia has been awful. They're pulling out DBs from the local JV squads. And then the Oklahoma team total under that Cons was talking about. Those are the only things I still have written down on my little handy dandy look notepad. So if we have any questions in the chat, would love to answer those. Would love to give any guidance that you guys might want. So I think we're good for Moose droppings here.
Go ahead and drop those questions for Moose in the chat right now. If you haven't, if there's a game you want to ask about or anything like that. And if you can, guys, please hear me on this. If you're subscribed to the Moose Dive, if you've checked out what Moose has been doing, let everybody know what it's like, because I think some people don't realize the opportunity they're missing out on. Moose is offering his analysis and breakdown on every game that he caps for free for you guys. All you got to do is give him your email and he'll send you the link, and then you click on it and you get in-depth analysis. I mean, it's awesome, man. I really appreciate him doing this for you guys. Like it's badass. So anybody that's, subscribe to it, let people know it's worth the subscription, and you don't pay nothing. I don't know why I use that word. All you do is send your email to Moose and he puts you on it. It's free. So start dropping those questions. I'm going to recap all of this action. Moose, I'm going to let you do yours after I recap this.
Yeah.
We started off with wine time today, kicked us off. Washington +7, UCF. ATS, I think he got +2.5. It's -2.5 now. He still likes it. Wisconsin +6.5, and then he's also on A&M with me, ATS. And then our guy Kong came in. He's been delivering the goods, just like always, nonstop. Kong came in. He gave us Indiana -6.5, so he's on the opposite side of wine time. He's on Oregon first half -13.5. He took Miami -20.5. The Oklahoma team total under 14.5. And then his plus money props of the week, he's got two of them for you guys. Restrepo over 125 receiving yards at +235. And then Sanders right there. We were just talking about the Colorado game. Shador to have four over 3.5 or 4+ passing touchdowns at +240. And then his 2-unit parlay of the week was Indiana ATS, Oregon first half ATS, and Miami ATS. That comes in at +584. So we brought you guys some big plus money plays there. Shout out to our dude Kong. And then Dutch rolled in. He brought us Vandy +18.5. He's been rocking with Vandy. Going to keep rocking with them. And then he dropped NBA action for you guys too. A little best bet, because this is a best bet show. We just want to get paid no matter what it is. And he brought us Mavs -2.5. I starred a lot of you guys' bets in here. I'm going to go back and keep track of them. Today was a little off, so sorry if I don't have more of them written down, but I will go back and get all of them from the chat. For me personally, I took Notre Dame first half -7. So that's the only early kick for me. And then I got Josh Hoover over 322.5 passing yards. I know that's a huge number, but I think he gets at least 350 against Tech. I think he might have 200 at half. And then I'm on the Aggies. I got A&M, ATS. You can get a better number than what I got now. I think they beat LSU, even though I don't like the linemen being out. So it's going to be an exciting game. Electric atmosphere in College Field, to say the least. Kyle Field to say the least. But that's it. Ton of action. Takes a breath to get through it. Moose, you want to hit yours real quick?
Sure. I got Georgia Tech at Virginia Tech over 53, minus 110. I got Minnesota -5 full game. First half, Minnesota -3. I would prefer the first half over the full game. West Virginia team total over 26.5. That's at plus 120. I got last night on Bovada. First half, West Virginia team total over 12.5. I got that at plus 100 again on Bovada. Penn State at Wisconsin under 48. Auburn and Kentucky under 43. And Cincinnati at Colorado over 56.5.
Hell yeah. You might have answered these in the chat. Robert Martin said, will Kansas State win their 16 in a row in the Sunflower Showdown?
I mean, probably, but this is going to be the biggest game for Kansas. I mean, and it's such a disappointing season for Kansas. I think a lot of people thought between Daniels and Neal that offense was going to be far more explosive than it has been, and they have been very poor this year. I mean, they've been very inconsistent. You can see them move the ball at times, but I think this is going to be their big get-up game. I couldn't get to the window with Kansas State. That'd be the only side I'd look at because Kansas has just been – I mean, every time you think like, okay, all right, this is the week they're going to turn it around, they continue going in the wrong direction.
Our guy UPK said he's out here at MetLife Stadium. He didn't know Navy and Notre Dame was playing out here in Jersey in shit traffic. That sucks, UPK. I'm sorry that you guys.
Why is that in Jersey?
I couldn't tell you.
It's so you're going from South Bend and from Andover all the way up to Jersey?
That don't make no sense. No sense unless there's. I mean, it's not something they always do either. King. No. Oh, you answered him about Oregon State. You already answered him in the chat.
Yeah. I like the definitely like Oregon State in that one. I just couldn't get there. Oregon State is not a great team, but they definitely have some matchups that look very favorable.
Voodoo, you're asking. I don't know. He's asking if Watkins playing. I don't know.
I mean, it's so tough to tell with these injuries. I mean, they play that close to vest. I mean, obviously I can do what you can do, which is just kind of Google it and look it up. But right. They are not. Yeah, they're not required to tell you anything about injuries. I mean, you can see that with how they handled Haynes King last week and what they did this week, just saying, "Oh, he's day to day, he's day to day, he's day to day."
Well, they got to give you the update, but they're required to give you the update. But the coaches are so finicky with it, man. It's such shit.
Yeah, they just list. I mean, if you look at some of these injury reports on Covers, which is the site that I use for my injury reports, like they just list everybody as questionable. Like, oh, you got a sore throat, all right, questionable.
Well, we did it, Moose. We're through another one. It's already week 9. It's crazy to me. Like, I don't like. It's not like that's not a good thing. Like, I hate that it's already week 9. I feel like this is going to be over before we blink our eyes because I love doing this with you guys. You don't understand. You on screen, Moose, Wine Time, Dutch, Stacks, my guy, all the people that have rolled through, Guns. I love doing this with you guys. You guys in the chat, I love being here with y'all. And it's going to be over before we blink our eyes. But then we'll roll right into college basketball. So we'll keep it moving. But thank you guys for tuning in again. Leave a comment. Guess the score of the LSU A&M game. Who wins and what the score is after the show. Whoever gets the closest, we'll shoot $25 to. But Rodney, good to see you in here. He said, what about Bowling Green? You got anything on that?
I just put it in there. I really lean Toledo, but the money does show that it's potentially a Bowling Green spot. But that really will decide the MAC. Those are the two teams that are essentially in it. Can Toledo find their offense? Because they have not been able to find their offense this year. Bowling Green defense has been pretty good, but Connor Bazelak has been more like Connor Harry-Sack, and I have not seen what I thought I would see from that offense. I thought Bowling Green was going to be much better offensively, but Harry-Sack back there, taking the ball under center has not been all that great. I lean Toledo. I almost got to the window, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on it, so I stayed off. There's also issues with the Toledo offensive line.
So there we go, man. You guys, thank you again for tuning in. We love doing this with you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. So thank you. Thank you to all the members. Go to pubsportsradio.com if you want to see some of the action that gets posted. And when we get out of here, right now, UFC is early. And from what I'm told, there's some big fights, some really good fights today. So go over there, click into the UFC, guys. I might even pop on with them. I'll be in the chat. But thank you, guys. We love you, and we'll see you guys next time.